and informative.
A very pleasant morning to you and welcome to the News Machine, the hottest news magazine show on radio. And we are reaching you from Hot FM stations in Lagos on 93.3 FM, Hot FM Abuja 98.3 FM, and Hot FM Owerri 99.5 FM, 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m. Monday to Friday. I am Victor Eze. This morning on the News Machine, use subsidy savings to reduce sufferings, World Bank tells Tinubu. Cleric tasks Muslims on practice of love, peace and forgiveness during Salah celebration. Still in the headlines, Ganduje laments stoppage of 10,000 workers' salaries in Kano State. The News Machine will be back after this message.
Now you can get your news on. Hot, fresh, exciting, and exclusive. The News Machine.
Reaching you at the same time in Lagos, Abuja, and Owerri. 3 states for the price of 1. Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m.
The News Machine. More than just news.
Hot FM.
We are more than just radio.
Welcome back to the News Machine. A bloc in People's Democratic Party concerned PDP League says it is opposed to any attempt by the party to present Senator Aminu Tambuwal as Senate Minority Leader. The chairman of CPD-PL, Mr. Dabo Kaibo Wamate, alleged in a statement that the group was not in support of his actions as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Wamate said that instead of Tambuwal, the position should rather be zoned to the state in the north central, precisely Plateau State. Wamate stated that Tambuwal had, during his leadership as Speaker of the 8th House of Representatives given to him by the PDP, defected to the All Progressives Congress APC. As Muslims celebrate Eid al-Kabir in Rivers State, the chief imam of the Rivers State Central Mosque, Malik Yahaya, has called on Muslims across the state and the country to continue the practice of love, peace and forgiveness exhibited during Eid al-Adha celebrations. Malik Yahaya stated this in his Eid al-Kabir message to Muslims at the Rivers State Central Mosque prayer ground at the old Port Harcourt Township. Despite the rainfall, many of the Muslim faithful gathered early in the morning for the open-air special prayers called Salat al-Eid. Imam Yahya called on Muslims to continue with the love shared during the festival.
The khutbah was strictly adhered to the teachings of Islam as we commemorate the Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Adha simply means the festival of sacrifice. So the significance is all revolved about thanking Allah wa ta'ala and being merciful to God Almighty. And in that, we believe that Almighty Allah having spared our life to witness today, there's need for us to be grateful and be grateful to Him. And that is the message that we'll tell to the people today.
Some Muslim faithful like Azan Muhammad said preaching unity and peace remain the panacea for peaceful coexistence.
The most important prayer is for peace, love and harmony. If there's no peace, there will be no leadership. If there's no love, there will be no peaceful coexistence among the people and the citizenry. The Muslim Ummah in Rivers State never had it so good like this. And we want to thank the synergy between the Muslim community and the government of Rivers State. The governor was able to reach out to the Muslim community by making a donation of food items to enable the less privileged and indigent Muslim to see how they can celebrate in a good way.
The Eid al-Kabir is an Islamic festival marking the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son Ishmael as commanded by Allah, an act of submission before God intervened and provided a ram in exchange. The Eid al-Kabir celebration is usually marked on the 10th day of the Dhul Hijjah in the Islamic calendar. The immediate past governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, has expressed sadness over the suspension of salaries of 10,000 workers he employed by the government of Abba Kabir Yusuf. This is contained in a statement issued by the former Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs, Mohammed Kaba, to rejoice with the people of the state on Eid al-Kabir. Ganduje also said that the suspension of the workers' salaries has generated fears in the state civil service for possible layoffs at a time when people are striving to survive. The World Bank has called on the federal government to reallocate part of the savings from the fuel subsidy removal to reduce the suffering of Nigerians worsened by the negative impact of the policy. Making this call in its latest Nigeria Development Update, NDU, the World Bank noted that an additional 7.1 million Nigerians would be pushed into poverty, especially without measures to compensate for the negative impact of subsidy removal on the populace. The removal of the petrol subsidy and foreign exchange management reforms, according to the World Bank, are crucial measures to begin to rebuild fiscal space and restore macroeconomic stability, and the opportunity should be seized to take further necessary policy reform steps. It noted that the new administration had initiated critical reforms to address macroeconomic imbalances. Now it's time to get the trending stories from our news machine studios at Hot FM 98.3 Abuja. Let's hook up with Abuja Report.
Good morning. Here's the news from Abuja. As Nigerians join their counterparts from across the world to celebrate the Eid al-Kabir, President Bola Tinubu has asked the citizens to face their future with renewed hope and vigor. Tinubu, who made the call in a statement, noted that Eid al-Kabir is a festival of sacrifice and total obedience to Allah, as exemplified in the exceptional action of Prophet Ibrahim. In his Salah message, Tinubu said there is no greater sense of duty ever recorded in history outside the example of Prophet Ibrahim in offering his only son, Ishmael, as sacrifice to Allah. He said the best way to demonstrate this example is how the citizens will conduct themselves in relation to one another in their duties to the country. FCT administration has declared Trademore Estate area a disaster zone to make immediate action to remedy further damages and loss of lives and properties. FCT Permanent Secretary Olushade Adesola, who made the declaration during an assessment tour of the affected area with the FCT officials and head of security and paramilitary agencies in the FCT, says the administration is coming up with a program of evacuating people from those areas to prevent further casualties in the area. Adeshola noted that the flooding incident at Trademore Estate was among the issues reviewed at the FCT monthly security committee meeting to consider the effort that needs to be put in place to mitigate property damage and casualty from flooding in the FCT, adding that they were amazed that only 2 days after the flooding, people have returned to some of the properties. According to Adesola, FCDA Executive Secretary who chairs the Task Force on Flooding Mitigation in the FCT, the Commissioner of Police and other officials of the FCT administration are now ready to go and evolve solutions that would immediately address the menace. About 3 people were said to have lost their lives, while properties worth millions of naira and no fewer than 116 houses were submerged at the deadly incident on Friday in Lugbe district. And that's all from the News Machine studio at Hot FM Abuja. I'm Kevin Joseph La, over to Lagos.
Alright, let's link up with the News Machine studio at Hot FM 99.5 Owerri for the trend and news happening in the southeastern part of the country.
Good morning and welcome to our News Machine studios in Owerri. A cross-section of leaders of the opposition parties has joined the ruling All Progressives Congress APC in the Hitu-Boma Council area of Imo State. The leaders of the opposition parties who defected to the ruling APC were the Director General for the APGA House of Assembly election in Hitu-Boma, Joe Ibe, and his PDP counterpart, Honorable Ifeanyi Anyanwu, as well as that of APGA, Ndubisi Nwiwu, amongst others. The defectors were received by the Speaker of the Imo State House of Assembly, Chike Olengbe, at the residence of the Commissioner for Trade and Investment, Comrade Simon Ebegbulem. Welcoming the opposition leaders, the Imo State House of Assembly Speaker Olengbe urged his people to continue to support the government of His Excellency, Distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma, and to ensure his 100% victory in the area come November 11th governorship election. Imo State Police Command says it has made adequate security arrangements to secure life and property during and after the celebration of the Eid al-Kabir. According to an official statement issued in Owerri by the command's spokesperson, ASP Henry Okoye, the command is working in close synergy with other sister security agencies in the state and has spread its security tentacles to ensure that vital areas like mosque, residential areas, recreational centers, and other public domains are adequately policed. Abia State Governor Alex Oti has urged Muslims to pray for the success of the state government as it works towards rebuilding the state. Oti said this on Wednesday in his Eid al-Kabir message to the Muslim community in the state of Umuahia. The governor, who described Eid al-Kabir as the most important religious celebration in the Islamic calendar, urged the Muslim community in the state to constantly pray for his administration as it works towards improving the well-being of the people of Abia. The United Kingdom has announced plans to partner with the Enugu state government on power, education, and public health for mutual economic development. Richard Montgomery, who is the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, spoke during a visit to Peter Mba, Enugu state governor. Montgomery said that the UK had partnered with Enugu state for over 20 years on public health sector reforms, education, and power sector reforms, amongst others. That's all from the News Machine studios in Owerri. Back to our studios in Lagos. I am Ifeyunwa Nwana.
You're still listening to the News Machine, reaching you from our FM stations in Lagos on 93.3 FM, FM Abuja 98.3 FM, and FM Owerri 99.5 FM, 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m. Monday to Friday. Let's hear what correspondent Lester Sunny has for us in Voices in the News.
Human rights activist Joseph Ekong on cleaning up Nigeria's voter register.
My position is that the voters register should be cleaned up because it is not a true reflection of the number of voters that we have in Nigeria. A number of those voters on the register are dead, and we are still counting as our total number of registered voters. A number of them are not in Nigeria as we speak. And of course, I'm one of those that interrogate the level of voter turnout. I think it is supposed to be a function of the number of PVCs collected, not the number of, not total number of registered voters.
And on the foreign scene, several cities in the United States have again been placed under air quality alerts as smokes from still raging wildfires in Canada settled over the United States Midwest. Warnings were issued across large swathes of the region, stretching to the eastern coast of the United States. Those warnings were issued as far south as Georgia and Alabama, 3 weeks after haze from the Canadian fires had initially blanketed cities across the United States and turned skies orange in some places. And that's a wrap on today's edition of the News Machine. Do well to have a beautiful day. Good morning.